Okay, we are also live streaming now. Okay, dear friends, we can start. So, hello. One moment. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, dear friends, let's start this session. So thank you very much for being here. This will be a webinar, as you know, on the Sustainable Development Goals, and it's part of a second cycle of webinars organized by System and Generation Association. Last year, with the volunteers, we had organized a very successful cycle of webinars that was called SNG for Youth. So we decided to continue this year. So this is just the second session with this cycle that we called We Have a Dream, as it will be focused especially on social justice and social challenges. So today we will analyze again the Sustainable Development Goals, which I think are very interesting to be discussed. So the session has been prepared by our volunteers, Francesca, Ikram, and Tacos. I will give them a chance to introduce themselves. And yeah, I guess the webinar will last 1 hour, 15 minutes approximately. And again, thank you very much for being connected here with us. So I will start with a very short round of presentation, and we might have a short icebreaker. So when you introduce yourself, you can share anything you want about yourself. So your name, where you're from, what you're doing, and also share with us if you could invite one person for dinner this evening, anyone in the world, who would you invite? So we may start with Dokan.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Hello, guys. My name is Dokan. I'm 23 years old and I live in Ankara for 23 years. And I have a chance to invite someone. I think it's going to be Nelson Mandela.
Why?
I don't know. I think he would like this conversation, this topic.
Okay.
I just remind him that I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm also writing in the chat, and we may continue with Burju. Hi, Burju.
Hi, hello. I was sick today, but I'm okay. I'm trying. I'm Burcu. I live in Ankara. I'm 30 years old. Energizing. 1 minute. I want my friends. I want to invite my friends. Yes, yesterday my together friends. Again, same group. I want to, and actually, I want to, all of you. I want to introduce you. Yes, I'm waiting you, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Burju. Okay, we might continue with Omer. Welcome, Omer.
Hello, can I view the next one?
Sure.
Thanks.
Sure. Okay. Then Kaviraj. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. Can you Kaviraj, I guess. Brother of Pardeep, I guess, yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hope everyone is good. My name is Kavi. I'm from Pakistan. I'm working and living here in Ankara. Nice to meet you, all of you. Thank you.
Kavi, if you just thank you for being here. If you could invite one person for dinner this evening, anyone in the world, who would that be?
Someone from I don't know. It's just like we're like really inviting someone or not?
I didn't understand.
Like a friend of mine.
You will invite a friend of yours.
Yeah.
Okay, Tamar, thank you. And
Welcome.
tacos, can you be next one, please? There are two tacos.
Yes, of course. My name is Taki. They call me Tacos. And I can't eat tacos, you know, you can't eat yourself. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Tunisia. I play guitar and I'm here for volunteering with SNG and I'm happy to be in Ankara. Thank you all.
Thank you, Taki. And who would invite for dinner? Anyone in the world?
Nelson Mandela.
Okay, so you go with Okan.
Yeah.
Okay, the three of you. Okay, will you offer, what do you drink with Nelson Mandela?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Okay, thank you. And Francesca, can you be next one, please?
Yes, hi everyone. So yes, my name is Francesca. I'm from Italy. At the moment, I'm a volunteer with System and Generation. If I could invite someone for dinner, I would like to invite Malala. That she's a Pakistani activist, and she worked for the right of education. So I would like to discuss with her about this topic.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ikram, can you please be the next one?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ikram. I'm from Spain. I'm 25 years old, and I'm like Francesca, I'm a long-term volunteer with System and Generation here in Ankara. If I could invite one person for a dinner, I think it could be Angelina Ioli, because I really like the effort and the commitment that she's taken through the education and all the challenges that we are going through in the world. It could be a nice conversation and maybe dinner.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And Nehir, can you be next one, please?
Yeah, hello. My name is Nehir. I'm 20 years old. I live in Ankara, and if I could invite anyone to have dinner with, I don't know. No one comes to my mind. I would say Atatürk. That would be a very classic answer, but
I was expecting, I said at least one needs to say Atatürk.
yeah, of course.
I was expecting Burcu, but okay. Thank you. And back to Ömer.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ömer. I'm 22 years old. I study in Ankara, but I live in Izmir. And if I would like to invite someone to this webinar, would be Malala too. I was going to say her name. Yeah, she's really, you know, she's really good at the activist issues and something like that. So I really appreciate her efforts to the peace of the world. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. And my name is Jacopo. I come from Italy. I work with System and Generation. I have these amazing volunteers helping us now. And if I could invite one person, I would invite Papa Francisco, because I'm much interested in religions. I would like to discuss with him. I really like this Pope, and I think he's very open-minded. He's like progressive, so I would love to have a dinner with him and discuss about interreligious dialogue, let's say. Might be a good dinner. Okay, then thank you very much, everyone. Let's start. So I leave the floor to Francesca, Ikram, and Tacos. They are our volunteers who prepared this session. So the floor is yours.
Okay. I try to share the screen for the presentation, but I have no idea how to do it. Schermo. Jacopo, sorry, Italian now. Schermo, right?
Shall I share screen?
Yes, I think. Okay. Can is it this one? You see?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Now, yeah.
Where should I go to slideshow? Okay. Okay, so as Jacopo mentioned, today's topic is sustainable development goals. So when we start talking about how to organize this discussion, let's say, this chat with you, we decided that it was important also to talk about sustainable development, because the concept was not always intended and perceived as it is nowadays. So, of course, also the topic is really full of contents, food for thoughts. Also, I decided to start from a precise point in order to not stay all the evening talking about sustainable development and how the concept developed across the years. And so start, yes, around the 50s, so after the Second World War. After the Second World War, there was an important economic growth rate. In the years before, this value was around 2.9 and maximum 4. But in the years 1948, 1971, it reached 5.6%. And so from here, the idea that the economic growth was unstoppable, that the countries could always achieve more. Of course, this idea of development that also implied that if a country is developed, there are countries that are not developed. So a negative opposition between who is developed and who is not. So the countries, mainly the Western countries, start asking themselves, okay, but how can we keep this rate? What can we do? Mainly there were two theories that were, one was the modernization theory and the other the dependency theory. If you want to keep up with this at this speed, with this kind of development, it means that the developing countries, they have to follow the Western countries. This is the modernization theory. On the other hand, there were who claimed the dependency theory, that the Western countries were exploiting, were causing this kind of dependent relationship by the developing countries. So it was a new form of colonialism that was, of course, impacting in a bad way the developing countries. Between the 60s and the 70s, also they start asking themselves what kind of progress we want to see. What do we mean with development? What do we want to achieve? And for example, here I wrote some of important reports or books that start putting the attention on the environment. And for example, The Silent Spring, it's about the negative impact of insecticide on the environment and also on the humankind. The Population Bomb was was about the growth of population that was affecting also the environment. So more the population growth, more also is the increase the pressure on resources. A blueprint for survival reflects on the structure of society. It's claimed that it's better to have an area that is not overpopulated because the society is more lives in harmony, and at the same time is like less pressure on resources and on environment. Small is beautiful is a reflection again on the pressure of on resources. This attention on environment, exploitation of resources, population growth also led for the first time to the Earth Day that was celebrated for the first time in the 70s. Why also there is this reflection? Why leaders, organizations are talking about progress and development? Because they understood that humankind was at stake. Is it sustainable, the population growth? Is it sustainable, the exploitation of resources? Until the 70s, they thought that, okay, we have always done that. The humankind has always got an adaptation to new challenges. So also this time with technology, with science, we can address and face this issue. To prove that they were wrong, it was in the first place in 1971, the oil crisis. And then from the 73, 75, there was a big recession, and every measure to fight against it didn't find any good response. I would like also to mention the limits to growth. That is a report from the Club of Rome that analyzed and present the case of example, the survey conducted with the computer, where they were explaining how the population grow, how the pollution, how the exploitation of resources affect the environment, and so also the place where we live, not granting the successful continuum of the survival of the humankind. So in the 70s, basically they start rethinking the word progress, growth, and development, and with the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment, that they were basically focused on the environment. We have a new view, the humankind and the environment and the development were three linked factors. But for the first time, a proper definition of sustainable development is registered with the World Commission on Environment and Development, also known with Brundtland Commission, from the name of the president, the leader. And it ends its mandate in the 87 when they released Our Common Future, a report. And sustainable development is defined as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So I'll try to keep it a little bit short because really the topic is complex. There are a lot of meetings, reunion, and summit. So after the 80s, we have, let's say, in the 90s, it's called also the decade of world conferences, because the leaders, the state members of, for example, United Nations, they start to gather and discuss about the new century, what they want to achieve, what they want that the new century could mark in the history. The Millennium Development Goals that they precede, they are, let's say, the basis for the Sustainable Development Goals. They take their content, let's say, from the Copenhagen World Summit for Social Development. The development cannot be a topic detached from people's need. For this reason, like I put here in brackets, people-centered approach. To this, it's followed in 1996. We have the Shaping the 21st Century, that the contribution of development cooperation. That is, again, one report released by OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, where they recognize 7 or /8 international development goals. These are the basis. These two events constitutes like the basis for the Millennium Development Goals. In the end, in preparation of in the new century, they decide to have a Millennium Assembly and Millennium Summit. Leading these two leading these two events was Kofi Annan, the Secretary General of United Nations. He has the role to identify a topic or multiple topics that were crucial for all the countries. With the peoples, in the end, they arrived to the Millennium Declaration, and only 1 year later, they approved the Millennium Development Goals with 8 goals. So 8 recognized commitment, where 189 nations, countries recognize that these 8 eradicate extreme poverty, gender equality, child mortality, all these 8 were a priority in their international relations, but also in the relation, let's say, North and South, and within every country. For every goal, there are also targets. And in this case of the Millennium Development Goals, in total, there were only 21 targets. Target is how they can measure or what's the criteria to say, okay, for example, to eradicate extreme poverty. For example, what is the data that we want to achieve? For example, to diminish of 1.5% the people that live in extreme poverty. Now I will leave the floor to Takos. He will talk about the Sustainable Development Goals that are basically a continuum of the Millennium Sustainable, of the Millennium Sustainable Development, Millennium Development Goals. Since the MDGs, they have as limit, like from a time point of view, they have the limit of 2015. At the end of this period, they understood that 15 years for eradicating extreme poverty, for example, was not enough. So they renew their commitment. Takos, I will leave the floor to you.
Okay. Hi, everyone again. So let's start from 1948. When the WW2 was in this world, a group of youth like us was texting each other by letters to demand the peace, and they create those 17 SDGs. So the SDGs, or the global goals, are a collecting of 17 interlinked global goals designed to be a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. The SDGs were set up in 2015 by the UN General Assembly and are intended to be achieved by the year 2030. So you can visit the Agenda 2030. You will find those SDGs. And like what Francesca said before 2015, there was MDG, like 8 goals with 21 targets, but they feel that they are not complete, so they create the SDGs. Can you pass? So the first SDG is no poverty. To end the poverty, and everyone should have basic healthcare, security, and education. Also, the second one, zero hunger. Globally, 1 in 9 people are undernourished. This goal aims to end the hunger. Third one is good health, ensuring people healthy lives can cut child mortality and raise life expectancy. Education. The United Nations wants everyone to have access to inclusive, equitable, quality education. The gender equality, it's a big issue now in our days. Gender equality is yes.
Can I ask you just a question? What is, if you may explain, equitable quality education?
Equitable quality education. Like to have a good education with like everyone have right to have an education.
From equity.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of inclusive and
yes.
Okay, like not someone very good quality, someone is very poor education.
Okay. Must be equal.
May I? I
yes,
think also that is included the fact that in many countries, for example, girls have less access compared to boys. So if they can send children to school, they prefer to send first the male instead of the female. So also like equal access for boys and for girls.
Okay, thank you.
5 is gender equality, and we need gender equality in this world. Clean water, sixth one, like clean water protects people from disease. Yet 3 in 10 people lack access to it. Like in my country, in Tunisia, like there is places that they don't have water. They need to walk for 10 kilometers or more to have just water. And our country is too small, like we can do it easily, but you know, government doesn't do anything. Yes. 7 is clean energy. Targets for 2030 include using more renewable, affordable energy. 8, economic growth. The aim is for sustainable economic growth and decent employment for all. 9, industry and infrastructure. This involves building resilient infrastructure and fostering innovation. No inequality. The poorest 40% of the population should be able to grow their income faster than average. Sustainability. The UN wants to increase affordable housing and make settlement inclusive, safe, and sustainable. Responsible consumption. This global aim to foster eco-friendly production, reduce waste, and boost recycling. Climate action. Urgent action is needed by regulation, emission, and promoting renewable energy. Life underwater. The aim is to conserve and sustainable use of the ocean, seas, and marine resources. About this topic, I want to see something. Like the third war in this world will be about the water. So please, like we have like simple act we can do it to protect our water. Like when you clean the dishes in your home, try to stop the water when you clean, and after repeat. So we like it's a big issue now, the water, and all the big countries try to colonize the poor countries that they have water. Number 15, life on land. To stop degradation, we must preserve forest, desert, and mountain ecosystem. And the last two, peace and justice. The aim inclusive society with strong institution that provide justice for all. And partnership, if all countries are to achieve the goal, international cooperation is vital. So I leave the floor for Ikram.
Good afternoon, everyone, again. First of all, I want to thank you for joining us. Okay, we can start. I hope you can enjoy our presentation. I'm going to talk about maybe the good things about the SDGs and the challenges that we are facing to fulfill them. Okay, we can say that the main idea of these goals is to make the world a better place for all of us. This might sound like a dream or a wish far away being true. Many people find it very suspicious that the solution of the global collective problems depends on the maybe same politicians that the majority of the citizens distrust, let's say. But let's be realistic. When we watch the news every day, mostly lately, we see that the world seems to be going backwards, not forwards. But let's see the facts and then we decide. As I put at the presentation, one of the good things about the SDGs is that they reaffirms the Millennium Development Goals, the one that Francesca mentioned before. Back in 21, the United Nations agreed another set of goals, the one called the Millennium Development Goals. The most important goal was to halve the proportion of people living in poverty by 2015. Well, according to a report published by the United Nations 5 years ago, there has been a large decrease in global poverty. While in 1919, 50% of the world population lived on less than $1.25 per day. In 2015, only 14% did so. So we decreased the percentage in 36. This success was due to the economic growth. let's see, some of the biggest reduction in poverty were in countries like China and India. So here we can see the link between the decrease of the poverty and the economic growth of the country. One of the second advantage of the SDGs is that they propose a revitalized global alliance. This new agenda of the United Nations invites also civil society, the private big companies, and the non-governmental organization known as the NGOs to help to the achievement of the SDGs through a big global partnership. The SDGs are so relevant to all of us and require concerted action from multiple sectors, the government, business, civil society, the NGOs, all of us.
بابا أنا قاعد لا مش تو بعد أنت كم تو نخلط ما.
Okay, sorry, someone is speaking. Solving problems such as poverty, the lack of education, underemployment does not only depend on the bureaucrats or politicians, but also on the citizens who day after day, they participate in the economic relations on which development is based. The companies, the big companies they also create wealth. And the organization, like for example, System Generation, also represent the various sectors of civil society. So now this doesn't depend only on, because people, we complain most of the time about the decision of the politicians, our governments, the European Union, and so on. But the SDGs, if we don't contribute, all of us, we cannot achieve those targets. The third thing good about the SDGs is that for the first time, and this is the difference between the SDGs and the one before the Millennium, is that they invite for the first time to fight global warming and inequality. Global warming, which I must say is a fact and not an opinion, is a terrible problem that threatens humanity and consequently must be fighted by means of this global alliance of partnership that I mentioned before. Nowadays, we are suffering, for example, firsthand the consequences of the global warming. Did we not, for example, see lately the fire issue that we have been facing in Turkey, Italy, Greece, North Africa, Algeria, and so on? So this is a problem that affects all of us, not only some countries. So the United Nations has for the first time made climate action a key global objective, not an objective of a region or some countries. It's a global one. It affected all of us. Nowadays, we live in a big society, let's say a globalized, interdependent society. What happened in a part of the world is going to affect all of us. And for example, the crisis of the coronavirus, it's the perfect example to explain. It started in one country, and let's say China, but because we live in a globalized world, it affects all of us. We have the internet, flight, everyone, so we are so connected with each other. This is the result of the introduction of the sustainability paradigm, according to which development must be conceived from three dimensions: economic, social, and environment. So this in turn explains why the fight against inequality also appears for the first time as one of the SDGs. So we can say finally that the United Nations sees development as the result of fair economic relations that benefit all citizens and protect nature. So I think that we must see this as a step ahead. It's a positive thing that is happening. Now we can see the challenges. Everything in life is not only good, we also face challenges in every step we make. One of the big challenges that face the SDGs is the rise of nationalism and growing political that divide left and right government. The government sometimes may prioritize some local specific issues facing their country or their geographic region, and they don't see the global problems like the global warming because of this rise of nationalism that here in Europe we have been seeing that the rise of a lot of political parties, right-handed, that they focus only on the problems that they have in their country, and maybe they forgot about other global problems. It is very well that the United Nations to call in civil society, and by civil society I'm speaking about us people, and private big companies to solve global problems, to share the problem with also all of them, all the world, not only the politician or the government institution. However, development does not depend only on global policies designed by big or multilateral agencies such as the United Nations, the IMF, or the World Bank. Development also depends on non-state actors and institutions, mainly companies, NGOs, and workers, and also on local policies implemented by state. The second that we're facing to fight not the causes.
Ikram, we are having some little trouble hearing you. Francesca, I'm not the only one having trouble hearing Ikram.
No, she's disconnected. I cannot also hear.
Okay, maybe I can. Sorry, okay, I can turn down the camera.
Maybe now better. We lost you were starting the second point. Yeah, it seems working. You were about to start the second point. Until that, it was working well. Then we lost a bit.
Yes. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, as I was saying, that although that fact that the 2030 agenda calls on the international community to fulfill the SDGs should be celebrated, but it also should be criticized that it does not invite us to fight the causes of the problems, only the symptoms. For example, it speaks about reducing hunger or reducing inequality, poverty, but without drawing attention to the causes that produce these economic and social problems. Let's be honest, if the United Nations were to set out to fight the causes of these global problems, it will become overly committed to particular political and ideological position, losing the impartiality. And the third one is the crisis of the COVID-19 and the humanitarian aid. As all of us know, in last year, the countdown to achieve the 17 SDGs set for 2030 began. But then the pandemic came. So 235 million people will need humanitarian aid and protection to survive in this year, 40% more than last year. According to the United Nations Emergency Manager, Mark Lowcock, the increase is almost entirely due to COVID-19, which comes on top of the impacts of the climate crisis and the number of some conflicts as the one in Yemen or the new ones in Ethiopia and Mozambique and so on. I also would like to mention that one group has been particularly affected and are women and girls. There are some research that say that in some countries, the curfew and the confinement has led to increase of up to 30% of cases in sexist violence. Now, I would like to finish with a personal opinion. I think that the SDGs deserves to be uploaded by all of us. I think that they're making all they can to achieve and fulfill each one of the targets, but it also should be criticized at the same time. I'm not saying that we should be conformist. I know that the achievements are not enough and that we should keep fighting, but we also should appreciate the effort made until now. And thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask one question? Like,
yes.
I'm pretty sure, but just to be 100% sure, let's say, those sustainable development goals, they are not bonding for the countries. Am I right? So, I mean, if you are in the United Nations, there is no, if you do not respect, let's say, certain parameters, there is no any kind of fine, for example, if you don't respect these goals, yeah?
And as far as I know, there is no fees if you don't achieve these goals, because at Francesca and me were saying before, there were also other goals before the Millennium one, and we didn't achieve even 50% of them, and there were no fee for anyone. We just keep creating new goals each couple of years and so on.
Okay. And still, I think, okay, it's something at least to have them. It's better than nothing, let's say, and somehow, but yeah, if there is no authority, let's say, that can make them in somehow a minimum level bonding for the countries who are part of the United Nations, then I mean, it's really, I don't know, it's up to each country, let's say, to apply them or not. Also, I wanted to just to say one observation. Let's say, the COVID-19 crisis was really dramatic,
yes.
as we all know, in many aspects. So, of course, also related to the Sustainable Development Goals. The only, for what I read, some report, the only, if we want to find one positive aspect, was that it was beneficial for the environment in a way that it decreased a lot the level of CH02, because I mean, when people couldn't travel anymore and many factories, industries closed and so on, and there were no any more flights as they used to be, at least it was a little bit good for the environment to breathe a little bit more, maybe for the first month. But then I don't know, now I don't know, I have no idea, but just it was, in fact, some people were saying it's also the nature, I mean, it's just some point of view, let's say, that is the nature rebelling.
Vacation.
Yeah, and taking a break from us. So this COVID is like for taking vacation from the humankind, let's say, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacopo. For now, we fought for an activity. If please, you can divide us in maybe in two groups, and one group will analyze the SDG number 1, no poverty, and the other group analyze the number 13 on climate change, climate action. So the main purpose is for every group to have one person that after present what they have discussed, and to think why that goal is important, why it's relevant, why do we need that goal? Is it clear?
Mm-hmm. And how much time do we have to do so?
12 minutes. 10-12 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you repeat again why it's important? Just so I can write in the chat. Why is important to have this goal?
Yes. Why is it relevant?
Why is it relevant? Mm-hmm.
Yes, a description. For example, for the number for quality education. They say, for example, we want, since there are, for example, 100,000 children out of education, out of school, it's important because we want to bring them. Okay, so maybe find some important, how do you say in English? Number or like a percentage or data. Yes, data.
Okay. Okay. So the rooms are ready. I will open now and see you back in 10 minutes.